Tonight, grain prices slump as the Costa harvest continues to surge in the Spencer Gulf. And a state funeral for the King of South Australia, Waiala footy legend Neil Curley.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf studios, your nightly news with Madeline Kerr begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. With the cost of living continuing to fluctuate, Spencer Gulf farmers are amongst those undoubtedly feeling the effects of inflation. Agricultural workers in the regions are bearing the brunt, with the cost of diesel in country areas reaching all-time highs.
Prices on the rise, with inflation continuing to dictate the price of consumer commodities.
So everything's been sort of a bit up and down for a long period of time now. We've had the supply chains within China disrupted, so it's causing a lot of inflation, and I think we're still got a way to go.
Farmers across the region are feeling the pinch despite the cost of fertiliser dropping slightly. Supply and demand issues also causing disruption.
Fertiliser has come down in price to what we were paying probably 4 months ago. Urea's dropped back, but that's if you can get it, because there's a bit of a supply and demand at the moment that you can't get it.
Analysts suggest the price of urea is now sitting at close to $1,100 a tonne, doubling the cost of what it was 5 years ago. And it's no secret commuters are paying all-time prices for fuel.
Record prices for fuel. Certain positions, as a farmer, you have to use diesel. There's no choice. You've got no alternative. There's no electric tractors that are really viable.
However, some companies are reaping the benefits from this price surge.
How come these companies are making record profits and we're just sitting back taking it and paying, $2.35, and everyone's whinging a bit, but the government, did they help us? No, they took 22 cents off our excise.
A demand disruption pulling people out of the market.
If we look at the wheat industry as an example, we've seen the wheat prices and the canola prices over the last month lose a lot of value. The reason being is it was getting too expensive.
Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Premier of South Australia has offered a state funeral for the late football legend Neil Curley, to which his family has accepted. The Sandful footy great tragically died on Wednesday night, aged 88, after his car crashed into a paddock at Walker Flat. Known as Knuckles within the footballing community, Curley played 275 games in his Sandful career, representing Glenelg, Westies and South Adelaide. Originally born in Barmera, South Australia, Mr Curley made his way up north when he won a male medal and took over as coach in the Waiala Footy League. Curley led North Waiala to back-to-back premierships in the mid-50s before moving over to play with West Adelaide. Also known as the King of South Australia, Curley went on to have a decorated Sandful career where he played and coached in more than 900 games. Curley's family accepted the state funeral offer. It is unclear if the public will be able to attend. Waiala residents have proudly marched the city streets this morning to celebrate the beginning of NAIDOC Week. The community walk is just the first of a full week of events celebrating First Nations history, culture and achievements.
Walking through the streets loud and proud, Waiala has kicked off its NAIDOC Week celebrations with a community march through the city.
Happy NAIDOC Week!
Over 100 people attending the rally point at Plaza Youth Centre this morning for a flag-raising ceremony. Then the group hit the road, many walking hand in hand, proudly waving First Nations flags.
So we are starting here at Plaza Youth. We're walking alongside Our Ladies School to Norton Park on McCritchie Crescent.
Cars honking their horns and waving to the parade of people flowing in and out of the city's streets. Local police on site to temporarily divert traffic and ensure the safety of walkers.
We're very proud to have such an amazing crowd, especially because we haven't had the march in a couple of years. So it's fantastic to see all the community members and the schools out supporting us.
Feels good for all of us to celebrate our culture.
Arriving at the finish line, walkers were treated to a free barbecue provided by the city's Rotary Club. Organisers say the success of today's march is just the beginning, with a fun-filled lineup of activities taking place next week, including a kids' disco, movie screenings and a community golf day. These events are an opportunity to raise awareness and share one of the oldest living cultures, as was done today.
it's a fantastic day where we're very happy to be out celebrating NAIDOC Week.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Meantime, the Port Lincoln community is also getting ready to mark NAIDOC Week, coming together to host a full program of local events. A march will take place on Tasman Terrace next week, followed by the opening of an art exhibition showcasing Indigenous artworks. The Mayor says this week is a chance for the community to come together.
There's a combined approach by Council and the local Indigenous population here for us to be able to come together and not only celebrate reconciliation but to celebrate the culture of our local Indigenous people.
This year's NAIDOC theme is Get Up, Stand Up and Show Up, with the event being held nationally over July 3rd to the 10th. Still to come tonight, a fond farewell for one of Broken Hill's most respected health professionals. And Port Pirie marks an astonishing 133 years of the multi-metal smelter. Welcome back. At Broken Hill's council meeting earlier this week, Mayor Tom Kennedy said he hopes the government takes into consideration the impact IPART's increase on water will have on the city. The fear is that people will use less water if the prices go up, which will have an impact on vegetation and lead levels in the city. Council also voted against superannuation for councillors. While it wasn't a unanimous vote against, there was enough to see it pass through. One of Broken Hill's most beloved professors has retired after 27 years in rural health. David Lyle was given a worthy farewell on Thursday night, with colleagues and friends praising him for his many years of service in the Far West.
Moving out to the Far West from Sydney in 1995, David Lyle started as the new head of the Department of Rural Health as part of a 4-person team. Over the years, that's increased to 40, a 1,000% increase. A strong focus has always been on education, the department encouraging students who visited the Far West to experience all aspects of working in the country.
We have academic centre here in Broken Hill, in Burke, in the northwest and down the south. So it's been a really exciting time over the last 27 years.
The professor had done some work in the country before his move out to the Silver City, but he packed up his family and moved them out, and they fell in love with the place.
I'd done some work in the country, but I was pleased to bring myself and my family here, and we've really come to love Broken Hill, the community, the cityscape, as well as the outback environment.
As for a replacement for the role, they are currently going through the recruitment process. But the outgoing head of Rural Health knows he's left the department in good hands.
The people who actually are the ones that make all our programs work, they're here, and they'll ensure that the department prospers under the new leadership.
As for what he is most proud of in over 2.5 decades of service, it's making the Department of Rural Health a crucial part of the region.
We're now part of the landscape here, and we're doing our bit to help improve and recruit and retain our health workforce.
Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Copper Coast Council has announced the Adopt a Tree program in the hopes of greening up the area and improving the overall presentation. Council also acknowledging the important role trees play in the environment as they reduce air pollution. Residents can now put in an expression of interest for a tree and select one that's suitable for your area. They will then be responsible for and maintain the tree. It's fair to say Port Pirie wouldn't be the city it is today without the smelter. And on this week in 1889, that's 133 years ago, the British Broken Hill Company, known as the British Blocks, blew in its first Port Pirie blast furnace.
Looking back on its past, Neostar is excited for the future and opportunities moving forward. And Regional Head of Corporate Affairs Cullen Bailey looks forward to the next 133 years.
Obviously, at a time like this, you get to celebrate your milestones, and we get to think about the past, the present and the future, and we get to reflect on all the great things that have happened, all the great products that have been produced here at Port Pirie.
The regional city smelter still having a global impact.
Products that are produced here that go into batteries that are essential for everyday life right across the world. So there is a very, very good future here for Nyrstar and Port Pirie.
Member for Stuart Jeff Brock is no stranger to the smelters. Returning to Port Pirie in 1978, Brock donned the protective overalls for the better half of 3 decades.
So thoroughly enjoyed the 30 years there. It was an absolute great place to work. Camaraderie was fantastic. The people there are so loyal to the company, it's just unbelievable. So yeah, I'm very, very ecstatic to be here today.
Mr. Brock says what makes the smelter so special is the extreme loyalty, saying some families have had 2 or 3 generations work there.
And 133 years of continuous service of the operation here at Port Pirie is a tribute to not only the companies themselves over the many years, but also to the people that have worked there over the many, many years.
The smelter is evolving with the times and is transitioning to a greener future. Annabelle Francis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us. After the break, Port Augusta locals urged to book in to a free skin cancer clinic. And dipping into the Silver City, Broken Hill footy players to mark How's Your Mate round with a familiar face. Welcome back. With our harsh climate, Australia has one of the highest rates of skin cancer in the world, with many cases going undiagnosed until it's too late. The Port Augusta Lions Club is looking to stop that by organising free public screenings in Gladstone Square this weekend.
A quick checkup could make all the difference. Port Augusta's Lions Club have organised to bring a mobile skin cancer screening centre to the city. The clinic will be set up this weekend, giving locals access to diagnosis that may save their lives.
Lions Australia has a big interest in skin cancer. Australia leads the world with melanomas.
Cancer Council data shows 2 in 3 Australians will be diagnosed with skin cancer before the age of 70. But the Port Augusta Lions say skin cancer checks are quick and easy.
Through regional South Australia, the Lions have a large van that tours around the regions, and next Saturday and Sunday, the 2nd and 3rd of July, it'll be parked up in Gladstone Square from 9 o'clock in the morning till 3:45.
The Lions Club encouraging all community members interested in the free service to come along, but asking that they register their interest and book out a time slot ahead of their arrival.
You can just visit our webpage to get the details. There are flyers up around town and on our Facebook page, so get checked out. 15 minutes can save your life.
The club is proud to make such a beneficial service accessible to their community.
It's an essential part of the community service, and people just take for granted we live an outdoor life, and we should keep an eye on any changes, any blemishes, get it looked at immediately.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Walk the York has something for everyone. Whether you're an experienced hiker or after a leisurely stroll, or whether you enjoy the views of the coast or learning about the town's past. The Copper Coast Council is adding to their walking trails, with the Wallaroo to Moonta shared path moving forward. The 14-kilometre path is currently being sealed and will intersect the Kadina to Wallaroo shared path. The Silver City's annual How's Your Mate round returns this weekend, kicking off a big day of footy action with a breakfast and guest speakers. The special round is a partnership with Lifeline Broken Hill and the local AFL, reminding people to do more than just ask, "Are you okay?"
Sometimes asking beyond "Are you okay?" can save someone's life. How's Your Mate started out as an awareness program that morphed into something bigger, helping local AFL players have those difficult conversations.
What we look at is How's Your Mate over the whole season of AFL. We look at how we can support the clubs, we offer them suicide prevention training, and then we obviously have our How's Your Mate round, which is this weekend.
The event kicks off with breakfast and some special guest speakers, before moving on to Jubilee Oval for the doubleheader. Last year, Dustin Fletcher, Brock McLean and Abby Holmes all made the trek out to the Silver City, while this year's guest is sure to impress.
We have Dipper Domenico and Alex Woodward. Unfortunately, Dipper has had other commitments at the last minute, but Alex is a tremendous guest speaker, so we're really excited to see what comes out of tomorrow morning.
Lifeline will also have a stall set up at Jubilee Oval, where people can get How's Your Mate merchandise, with funds going back into the program.
Yeah, so last year we started to look at ways we could support the program, and How's Your Mate merchandise came about last year. So we did some hoodies and some T-shirts, and we had some fun with it.
First bounce at Jubilee Oval is at 10 a.m. Joshua Mercer, 7, Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. We preview this weekend's footy games. Will the Peckers take down ladder leaders Marble Range? And we'll have the weekend weather details with Alex Sykes. Welcome back. It's top of the table teams versus the cellar dwellers in the Waiala footy comp this weekend, while some must-win games are set to be played in the Port Lincoln League. Without further ado, here's this week's footy tips.
Top three will play the bottom three this weekend in Waiala football. First up, Bennett Oval Saturday, North Waiala versus Roona Bay. North still a big shot in playing finals this year, but I think after the Bay shock loss last week, the Tigers will bounce back with the win. Third versus fourth on Saturday at Memorial Oval, it's West Waiala versus Rapina. West is significantly further up the ladder in terms of win than the Roos, and the West should have a close win on their home ground. And finally on Sunday at Bennett Oval, top versus bottom, Central Waiala versus South Waiala. The result speaks for itself. Central should win comfortably.
Round 8 of Broken Hill football will see a double header of senior footy at Jubilee Oval. In the first game, Central take on North. Central, a club that did not win a senior game last year, they are flying. Can they beat the Bulldogs? I think they can. The Magpies are on the rise. In the late game, it's South and West. South are the dominant side in this competition. West are youthful and they'll have a crack, but not good enough. South to beat West, Central to beat North.
Welcome to Port Lincoln Footy Tips. We had a huge round of football and a lot of big must-wins. We kick things off at Centenary Oval where Lincoln South are hosting Boston's. Lincoln South are holding on to the finals 4 and going to want a big win. I'm tipping them to win and win by 7 goals. In the next game, and match of the round, we've got Tasman's hosting Waybacks at Ravendale Oval. Waybacks are in some stellar form, but Tasman's look to have a full team. And if they get their full team on the park, I don't think there's going to be many teams that can beat them. I'm tipping Tasmans to win this one in a good game, but by 3 goals. In the last game, we got Mallee Park hosting Marble Range. Marble Range haven't dropped a game and getting a few players back this week. At Mallee Park's always a tough effort, but I'm tipping Marble Range to win this one by 5 goals.
Hello and welcome to round 10 of SGL Football Tips. This round we see Soli's taking on West here at Memorial Oval in Port Pirie. Soli's had a great win last week over the Lions and should be confident going into this match. I'm going to tip Soli's. Up in Port Augusta, we've got the 2 matches, with South taking on the Lions at Central Oval and Central's taking on Port at Etzer Oval. Lions and South are both coming off losses, which is a pretty rare thing for these two sides, and the Lions will be keen to get back in the winner's circle. I'm going to tip South, though, in an upset in that one. It's a crucial clash over at Etzer Oval, with Central and Port both battling it out for that 4th spot. Ports are currently 3 points clear of Central, but a win here will tighten that back up to 1 point. I'm going to tip Centrals.
Plenty of games to look forward to there. Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather with Alex Sykes. Alex, was the sun shining for the NAIDOC March in Waiala?
There was no rain in sight, Maddie, but it wasn't particularly sunny either. At 10 when the walk kicked off, it was 13 degrees, but it felt more like 9. Definitely looking forward to more NAIDOC Week events coming up. Waiala warmed up on only marginally from the morning, reaching 13.8 degrees at 12:30, rounded up to 14 degrees on your screen. Woodness slightly warmer, 16 today, 17 was the hottest we got. That was up in Cooper Pedy. Looking more broadly at the weather map now, Broken Hill reached 12 degrees today, so did Kadina. Port Pirie surpassed 14 degrees just after 1:30. Felt much colder than that though. 15 was the top in Port Lincoln. Taking a look at the satellite image image now, a high pressure system centred over the Bight will remain near stationary until early next week. The high will then move to a position south of Tasmania but will continue to extend a ridge over South Australia. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. East to south easterly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas below 1 metre, and south to southwesterly swell between 1 and 2 metres. Looking at tomorrow's temperatures now, a shower or two is forecast in Port Lincoln, 14 degrees. For all the footy players lacing up their boots for round 10. Between 8 and 13 degrees in Cleve, and a shower or two in Woodner, cloudy and 15 degrees there. Better conditions for the Waiala Football League players tomorrow. No rain is forecast, heading for a top of 13. Between 4 and 15 in Port Augusta, partly cloudy in Kadina, and 13 degrees. Port Pirie temperatures will be between 4 and 15 degrees there, partly cloudy, down to 2 degrees in Clare, just 11 on Saturday, and Broken Hill partly cloudy and 12 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, starting with Sunday, partly cloudy conditions in most places to end out the week. Temperatures in the early teens. Port Lincoln, the only centre on our map, expecting a shower or two. On Monday, we'll see the sun peeking through the clouds, 15 degrees in most places, 1 degree cooler and 14 in Waiala and Cooperpedy, 13 in Broken Hill. And finally, taking a look at Tuesday's forecast, noticeably sunnier, temperatures once again in the mid-teens. So that's all the news from me for tonight, Maddie. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. It's back to you.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Friday. I'm Madeline Kerr. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later, but until then, enjoy your evening. Have a fabulous weekend. Good night.